Everybody on the move.
Okay. So we are being live streamed now. I believe we're
Not yet,
live.
man. Not yet.
Heidi, is this all one packet? You give it to Mr. McDonough. We're ready? Are these all one?
They
They
are
are one
all
packet.
separate.
Oh, separate, so we can share one. We can share.
Yeah,
It's no problem. Yeah, I can get them, but he'll need he'll want to have that. I know we got Captain.
So unfortunately, I don't have what you have in front of you.
Madam Mayor, I just texted to you. If you want, I can email you all the documents to everyone.
That would be fine. I saw it pop up, but I didn't see it populate in my email yet. Yeah, it's okay. All righty, we can proceed. So I guess, Darius, we have to reopen the meeting.
Yes, take a motion to reopen the meeting.
I make a motion to reopen the meeting. What time do?
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion is carried. The meeting is open. Do we have an update from Ms. Mack?
Well, I
So-
believe okay, go on, Robin.
Oh, I mean, I yield to you.
I was just gonna say, we have brought in our deputy building commissioner, Ms. Heidi Mamak, who has received and been in constant contact or made attempts to reach several demolition companies today. So Ms. Mamak, can you let us know where we are right now?
Sure. Altogether, we communicated with three different construction companies to get their proposals. So far, we only get two of them. One of them is Capital. The other one is FDL Management Corp. Madam Mayor, if you want, I can go into the details of the proposals.
Thank you, please do.
Got it. So to start with FDL Management Corporation, they are giving us three different numbers. The first proposal is for partial demolition on the left side of the building where the collapse happened. They are saying that they will do the partial demolition for $45,875. They are also saying that during
I'm sorry. Just a quick question. Were those emailed to us?
Yes, and I share the copies with board members here. I can forward the email to you, Controller Morton.
Please do. Thank you.
Will do.
I'm sorry, you're doing FDL?
Management, yes.
It says 225 South Fourth Avenue?
They are gonna go ahead and correct the address. That's the mailing address. The legal address has to be corrected.
So it's for 217. The proposal,
Yes, for 217.
217.
okay,
That's the legal address.
25, all right.
Yes, they are gonna go ahead and correct it. I believe the same address is on the proposal we received from Capital.
I hate to ask the question, but is that,
The address.
Make sure they have the correct.
but that was the correct, they went to the correct building though?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So going back to the numbers that we received from FDL Management Corporation, for the partial demolition, they are asking $45,875. For the demolition of the entire property, they are asking $107,259. Also, during the demolition, if we go with partial or full demolition of the property, the tenant has to remove their belongings. In order for us to let them go into property, the construction company has to shore it up. They have to make sure that it's structurally secure enough for the tenant to go in and remove their equipment and other stuff. I apologize. FDL Management Corporation is saying that for them to do the shoring it up, it's gonna be from 25,000 to 75,000. I just received this email from their engineer. Their engineer didn't go to site yet. They are saying that they will be going to the site tomorrow morning to give us the specific number for them to do the shoring. Now we are going into capital. Does anyone have any question?
What is our experience with FDL Management? I'm not familiar with them.
We do not have any experience. They haven't done any demolition with us yet.
And where are they located?
They are located New Shell, 19 Cliff Street, New Shell.
Okay. And have we had any opportunity to check on their references?
Unfortunately, we haven't received their reference list yet because this has all happened yesterday. Our communication.
Okay.
Yes.
When you get an opportunity at minimum, can you contact the New Rochelle Department of Buildings and Planning?
I will.
I would assume if their headquarters is in New Rochelle, that they should be known to the building department and the planning
Yeah.
department at least. Okay.
Got it. Got it.
And I'm sorry, Deputy Heidi, what was the 25,000 to 75,000 inclusive?
For them to secure the
Just to
property-
store up the
Yeah,
property?
for the tenant to go in.
That
Only.
would be on top of, Commissioner Vanderpool,
included
that would
in?
be on top of the 40.
Is that included with the fee or is that an additional?
That's an additional fee.
Additional fee to the A and B?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
I didn't hear much of that. I don't know if Dr. Morton heard much of it. So can you just repeat it? Can
The numbers for the FDL?
Yes, I think so.
so yes,
Got it. Partial demolition, it's going to be $45,875. Demolition of the entire property is gonna be $107,259. And shoring the property up for the tenant to go in, it's gonna be from 25,000 to 75,000 additional fee on top of the demolition fees that they provided to us.
So wait a
So
minute.
all in. Okay.
So the last amount you said was for the tenant to go in?
Yes,
To take out their property.
Okay, before they do any demolition is what you're talking about?
yes.
Okay,
so in
All right.
order for the tenant to remove, I know there were probably about 8 to 10 trucks, industrial trucks in there that they are working on, that they want to go in and be able to remove, so that they don't lose all of that equipment.
okay.
So in order for them to
I got it.
remove that before demolition, they need the shoring.
So partial
Whether-
demolition
whether-
is
whether
what
it is
number
a
and full
partial-
demolition?
I'm sorry.
Whether it's
Darius, you
partial
say-
demolition or full demolition, they would need to go in and shore it up. Because they have to
All right.
remove the things before the demolitions could occur, partial or full.
Okay, got it.
Okay. The next numbers, Heidi, the next company?
Sure, it's Capital Industries Corporation. Based on their proposal, I have 110,000 for partial demolition. Verbally, they told me that if we want them to do the demolition of the entire property, it's gonna be less than this. However, I didn't get the confirmation yet. And they are saying that if we ask them to shore it up for the tenant to go in to remove their stuff, there will be additional fee of $80,000.
Okay, so it's
Wait a minute, let me-
110,000. Yeah, it's 110,000, you said, for partial demolition,
Yes, Madam Mayor.
and then an $80,000 for shoring.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
And it would be how much if it was full demolition?
They told me that it would be less than 110,000, but they haven't sent me any confirmation for that verbal explanation.
So that's a verbal quote,
Yes.
verbal quote.
Okay, so my question is, I'm a little, I guess, perplexed by the large discrepancy between one company to another, right? Because one company, if I heard correctly, partial was 45 or
Yes.
something, 75, and the other one is 110 for partial. And then there's this other that Capital is saying that if they do the full, it's going to be less than the 110.
That's what-
I know out of my belly so somebody explain this to me.
Sure. On the site yesterday, I was there with Commissioner Holder. We spoke with Andy from Capital and their structural engineer. He verbally told us that if they demolish the entire property, it will be less because it's a open space property. Instead of getting into structural issues, they can just go ahead and do the demolition.
Full demo.
Yes, for less than 110,000. Again, they didn't send me any email or anything in writing to confirm that explanation. So I do not have the number for their proposal of the full demolition.
So, but okay, I guess my perplexedness is that, well, wouldn't that be the same process for the first company? But yet the first company is giving us a higher price for the full demolition as opposed to the partial demolition. So what approach or system or whatever it is, what's the difference in how they're approaching the demolition that would cause this kind of discrepancy?
I can definitely ask those questions to both companies and get their approach and get their experience in different demolition. If the FTL tells me that they are more experienced on doing partial or full demolition, that can tie up to their experience or their equipment. That's the one way that they can answer, but I do not have the answers for those questions. And what I can do is, if we have time, I can try to communicate with both of them, try to see getting the specific numbers for the full demolition from Capital, because he told us verbally that it's going to be less than 110, but that might not be the case. Yesterday, we were also told that there won't be additional fee for shoring it up. Today, I got an email from Capital representing that additional fee. So I didn't get anything in writing stating that full demolition will be less than 110. There might be his guess on site, and that might not be the proposal that they are going to provide to me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I guess, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we're asking all of the right questions and we have all that information. And I have to defer, I guess, to the building department and the experts in construction, demolition, structural, kind of engineering and all of that to tell us what that is. My biggest concern is that it's just this huge discrepancy between these prices here. And I know that we have had some previous business with Capital. So I know that the city has some level of kind of trust with Capital. This other company, we don't, but yet these discrepancies is concerning, right? And what I don't want us to do is to go with someone that I guess from an economic standpoint sounds like it makes sense. And then what ends up happening is that they're not appropriately demoing the property and causing even more problems in our community as a whole. So, and I guess I don't know what the answer to this is as it pertains to trying to figure out how to solve the discrepancy here.
Yeah,
One question too is the sorry. I was just wondering, the scope of work was very, very well defined. So both companies know exactly what they have to do here. In terms, I know demo is not that complicated in terms of what is it defined well enough that they're bidding on the right, at least giving us quotes on the same project, number one. Number two is, you do see in construction some differing bids on projects, and you wonder why, but I think your concerns are well thought out, Dr. Morton. But and I think we would have to take the recommendation of the building department too, and the experts.
I mean, a partial demolition is a controlled demolition, right? Because you have to put some things in place to make sure that you're only going up to a certain part. Whereas an open demolition is, Big Mike the truck, and you just kind of whack it down and pull it all apart.
Yeah. Oh no, Mayor, believe me, I understand why you get a cost for a partial demolition being potentially more than a full.
Yeah, I'm saying I had the same level of confusion.
Yeah.
As
What's
you.
reflecting to me is the first one.
Because we've just dealt with a few very sensitive demolitions of the URA building, of a Terrace Avenue, building where you had to do part of them both kind of by hand to make sure that you didn't damage anything else around, and you couldn't just bring in the big machines for them because it had to be a very, very controlled demolition. We've done, even the one we did on First Avenue was a controlled demolition because of the proximity of other things that could have been involved. So, I just want to make sure that we're looking at all of those things and asking those questions.
I just want y'all to know. So I'm about to step back into this restaurant because I got a bunch of kids I got to get fed, but I'm listening. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Control. I just had a question in regards to I see the work scope exclusions. DC Heidi, what about the removal of the soil? Is the city going to be responsible for that? Is the URA going to be responsible for that additional? If the soil is contaminated, because they said exclusion there, work scope exclusion.
Asbestos?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the soil removal.
Both properties, their proposal is to treat the property as if there is no asbestos.
Right.
Please keep in mind, we didn't have time to do asbestos testing.
Yes, sir. Okay. So will we be responsible, the URA, will we be responsible?
The idea of it, the
IDAs.
They will be removing the debris. However, they are not gonna treat the removal of debris. Yes, there will be watering. They are gonna do basic measurements. They are gonna take those precautions, but they are gonna treat the demolition as if there is no asbestos.
No, I understand that. Okay. But if there is, or are we responsible to?
Well, you're talking about, Commissioner Vanderpool, you continue to say soil. So you're talking about, it's industrial site. It's a brownfield. That we already know.
Oh, okay. Okay. True.
And
we need to contact you. That's two different issues. The asbestos that may or may not be in the structures, number one. And number two is the soil. Those are two different issues. But I think, do we need to contact Department of Labor, and then there need to be any testing before there's any demo of this? I don't know. I throw that question out there. I don't know the answer, but I just want to be careful. If DOB can maybe contact the Department of Labor, or is there some testing they can do? Do we think there's asbestos for any reason in there, or is it just because it's an old building?
It's an old. We're assuming because it's an old building that there's asbestos.
Usually you can tell if there's asbestos shingles or something. You can usually tell, or wrapping. Usually they can tell.
Right.
And I wonder if they could let us know that. The contractors usually know.
Right. And then I know when they go in for the demolition and they go to get the demolition permit, they're going to have to deal with the state on that anyway. And so the state will make their requirements at that time. And then I also know furtherwise that when we did the URA building, that we put up air quality testers around, and we continue to monitor the air quality in the neighborhood to ensure that the air quality stayed within legal limits. And we also had the watering down of the property just as a precautionary measure. So we made sure that we watered down the property as we demolished it. We make sure that we had like 6 different testing sites within the vicinity of the building to capture all of the air quality. And we went from there and did also controlled removal.
Okay.
So that's about it.
So would the next step be for us to schedule to come back together on Monday, allowing these additional answers to be formed from questions? And
Well, the concern was that this building could have experienced further collapse tomorrow in the high winds and the heavy rains that we're expecting as part of the remnant of Hurricane or Tropical Storm Debbie. So, you know, that's kind of why we reconvened this evening, because we didn't know if Monday was really an option, right?
an option. Mhm. So we, as of the meeting that we had prior to this one, where our director of OEM was present, his report out at that time, it could have changed, is there's a wind advisory in effect for 12 p.m. tomorrow with 18 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts expected. And those will be sustained winds, instead of gusts, sustained winds with an approximate rain accumulation between 3 to 5 inches.
Yeah, I saw that on the news. They said between 3, 6 or whatever. Yeah, it's gonna be very bad.
Can the partial demo occur tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes,
I think, you know, I don't, whatever you'd like to do, whether the engineering says we can wait. If the engineering says you can't wait, I would recommend doing the partial demo tomorrow to make sure it's safe. But that's up to the board to do.
Well, I guess at this time, I'm asking for the authorization of the board to be able to make the decision. We have a structural engineer coming down there at about 5:30
Yes.
to 6 o'clock this evening, and we will get further updated information from that independent structural engineer, and go from there. But, you know, some level of authorization up to maybe 150. You know, max right now, and if it goes beyond that.
So to determine a ceiling for pre-authorization in order to then gather additional information tonight into tomorrow. And then provide an update to the board those hours and tonight into early tomorrow morning so that we can then proceed with a goal of having a demolition or construction company on site in the morning. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay. We're asking that of the board. So then Darius, do we put that out for a vote from the board?
Yes. I need a motion.
So we're not clear on which company we're going to, right?
I would
No,
like to,
just authorizing an amount.
An amount. Because we still have additional
Up
data.
to an amount. Of course, we're gonna continue to push back and make sure that we're getting the best deal. Or the best value, right? You know, not even just the lowest price, but that we know that the amount and the quality of work that's gonna be done is gonna be sufficient. And that's what our procurement says. Doesn't say lowest bid, it says best value.
So I make who's writing down the motion? Julie, you writing down the motion? I make a motion to authorize Chairwoman Patterson Howard to contract with a demolition company for the purposes of doing a partial or total demolition based on an emergency basis, up to $100,000
No, I thought it was one
I
fifty,
think 150.
150.
I mean, that's what I meant, 150,000, what did I say?
100. It should be 150.
$150,000, that's what I meant.
Yeah, 150, up to 150, up to
Yeah.
150.
Now you know I'm gonna push back because that's what I do.
No, wait, I had another phrase, in accordance with the IDA's procurement policy.
Okay. Do we have a second
I second it, Madam Mayor.
on the
All in favor?
question? Any questions? Okay, well, I just want to put it on the question for a second because I'm sure the controller has a question.
You know I do.
I know you very well, sir. I know you very well.
So I think that I'm okay with that, but I think that I think we should add to that it is also that is based upon that her decision will be based upon a certified or verified position, recommendation from the structure engineer, right? I think we need to put that in the record because the bottom line is at this point none of us have the
I agree.
expertise to make this decision. And we need to put it on the person who has a license to get it done and tell us that this is the best route.
Right,
Agreed. Motion as amended,
well,
Yeah.
seconded.
do we have to make that as part of the motion? Or could that be in the whereas clause?
That's a part. That's an amendment. That's a further amendment to the motion.
To
It
the
all goes
motion. It's
together.
a-
Right.
All right. All right, so then can we read it back? Because that's a lot of
And
questions.
so what I will do also, like we've done in the past for amounts even much smaller than this, so that we could have a record of it. We could type this motion up, and when I get final information, I will send that out for kind of an email response vote,
Right.
whether that it's at 11 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning, because I'm working.
Well, yeah. Well, you don't need a vote. We're gonna vote today. So it could be an email affirmation to that. That's all. But so
Okay.
the vote is officially here. But I
So
think
the
so the motion is that we authorizing the chairperson to make a decision on the partial or full demolition and the selection of a company up to $150,000 based upon a documented or certified recommendation from the structural engineer.
Is there a second?
What I didn't
Well,
hear,
it was already moved. I was just clarifying the motion.
Okay, that works for me.
That was just the amended motion.
The Zoom is tough. All in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye.
Motion passes. I think that's the sound way to go, board.
yeah, tough times, tough decisions, but we want to reduce our liabilities. We want to make sure that the community is safe, and that we are doing the work of the city. So
Yeah,
Through the
I
IDA.
agree. I'm just, again, I guess I'll go with my point earlier. I'm a little just concerned that in all of our visits to these properties and even our assessment of it, that we did not have this information before, right? That this property was in this kind of condition. So,
Well-
it's just that we got to make sure now that we got to look at all our city properties and make sure, that they are not in this kind of condition.
But again, to the point that I made earlier, Controller, I think we did have a very thorough evaluation of that property. And we do know since we had that evaluation, we did have that earthquake. That earthquake did eventually cause a major rupture to one of our main pipelines for water in the city. And when that pipeline broke, that sent Richter scale numbers, they recorded it up on the county level when that broke. And so we just don't know if any of the earthquake, the breaking of the water line, and then combined with 6.7 inches of rain, all had its role in this happening. So we will also be
Duly noted.
contacting FEMA. We'll be contacting FEMA as well. Okay. All right.
I think we'll need a motion to close the meeting.
Adjourn.
All right, Julie, Julie's like, yeah, motion to adjourn.
Julie said
Second.
she seconds it.
All in
All in
favor? How
favor?
about 4-0?
Aye. Aye.
Be well, all.
Aye.